Hi everyone, this is AlphaAli. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's okay. So today I'm bothering Tyler. Tyler essentially has been in my chat quite a lot. Absolutely love Tyler. Very, very supportive of like what I do and everything like that. And they're like basically just a lovely member of the community. And we're back with another VOD review with them. Essentially, this is a Plat 5 VOD review, I believe, that Tyler said. And we are wearing the beautiful Soulblind skin as well, so of course, you know, +1 in my books, basically. But yeah, so we're just gonna go through this VOD and basically just have a look and see where Tyler can improve. Also, some of the really good things that Tyler's doing. So looking at the comp that we have already, we have ourselves a D.Va, a Pharah, a Hanzo, and a Moira. Now, there is a bit of an issue running Mercy Moira on this map. The reasoning is because if D.Va goes and dives up to the high ground and needs healing, it will actually be your job rather than the Moira, because Moira will take quite a long while to get up to those high grounds, and obviously be able to heal the D.Va. But we obviously have our main blue beam target of being the Pharah, and we're just going to end up seeing what's going to happen. So, love this already like playing the cover and stuff like that. Lovely rotation. If I'm going to rotate here though, I would have done a slingshot across and played a little bit more to this cover rather than being directly next to her. But that's okay, we'll keep going. Loving the position you're taking right now. That's just unfortunate. She just makes a really bad rotation. Lovely rotate back out. I think, okay, the Panzer's all over there, which I think you kind of just spotted, so it's okay. The D.Va's just flying into everyone. That's fine. Just unfortunate. I think I would have like looked to try and get to my hands or like get to one of these people a little bit quicker. Essentially, you did the right thing of staying back here and like healing the D.Va and stuff like that. But then as soon as that kind of happened, I then like as soon as like she flies in, it looks like she's being DMX. That's kind of like a fight loss. You just have to like either look for a way out or look for like one of these people, either like your Hanzo or your Pharah. All right. But we'll keep going. Obviously, it's going to be a quick reset. I'm going to the next team fight. The Kyrian Genji was on me. Yeah, they wanted you, but it's all good. No worries. To be fair, your Pharah kind of like went in a bed, so it's not really anyone's fault or anything like that. I would top up the Hanzo here. The reason, like, as soon as like you kind of like GA'd up, I kind of like GA and make sure you're lurking around what's it called? This kind of like barrier. Heal up your Hanzo because obviously your Moira cannot heal your Hanzo up here because of like her range and stuff like that. So I'd like quickly flick on, heal up him, and then you can go in with your Pharah. Because your Pharah's already used her like big booster, so she's not going to make any kind of like big movements for a couple seconds. I love your positioning right now though. Lovely use of cover. Lovely picking up the D.Va, which is great. Lovely, lovely. I love that. You do everything perfectly for now. Obviously, just playing it back, playing it safe. Following your Pharah, which is perfect. I wouldn't drop down with her here. Like, I'd kind of just stay on this high ground because she's either going to go and, like, fly through, in which case you can then, like, drop down and just quickly do a GA across. But if you kind of just drop down here, you'll put yourself at risk by, for example, this Torb or any people that are coming back from spawn. And you could just very easily just kind of stay on this high ground here and kind of help her out. So you don't really need to drop there. It's all good. Let's get a nice rotation up. This is what I meant by, like, the drop through, which is kind of like what you just did there, which is perfect. Heal the people up, lovely. Obviously, it doesn't matter whoever heals here, and you want to go up to your Pharah, perfect. So, like, your beam management at the moment is really, really good. Just like little, like, minor positional things. Remember here, you can use these stairs as well. Like, I like this rotation as well, can I just say. But if you did end up kind of like getting a little bit stuck here, you could just kind of like back off onto these like stairs and stuff, and then just GA through if you needed to, alright? Lovely peel for your Hanzo. Yeah. Okay. At this point, as soon as you healed up that Hanzo, you want to be following that Pharah again. Like, out of all the heroes that you need like to be kind of on 24/7, I feel as though Pharah is probably one of the most that you need to be on 24/7. Compared to someone like an Ashe or like a Soldier, for example, that should kind of be your main blue beam, like you know, but you can like go and damage boost a lot of other things. Pharah, it works a little bit differently, where it's like you have to kind of like not so much be constantly with her, but very much puts her at top priority over everybody else. So as soon as you've healed up this Hanzo, you then need to be looking at where this Pharah is and like kind of thinking ahead of time and just what's it called, going ahead. I lost the matches, but I was really proud of my assists on them. Yeah, honestly, as long as you're getting like quite high assists on Mercy, you're doing your job. Very good ult. We ult to avoid Blade. In this, do not be healing your Moira in this Coalescence here. There is no need for you to heal her. You should be damage boosting her. The reason is because she's still quite healthy, and she's using her Coalescence, which gives her her own like passive regen as well. So damage boosting her, basically, it doesn't amplify the heals whatsoever, but it does amplify the damage, which she was kind of using it for to get this Genji. Alright, we're going to see what you do with the rest of this battle here. This was very risky. This was very, very risky, okay? I feel as though if you went in straight away and dragged it down here, perfect. That would have been okay. That would have been alright res. But you kind of like, you went for it and then kind of like stops and it was like, wait, should I res this? And then you just did like the kind of like twizzle res like this, which I never ever would, like I don't recommend, like, at all, really. So like I get the res and stuff like that, but if you were to res, I'd go and I'd drag it down under here and res kind of, you know, under here if you needed to res this. Remember as well, your spawn is like right over here, so there's no like absolute desperate need to res here. But we'll keep going. Obviously let's go and help Hanzo. Yeah, she ends up toppling over because of it. I think in that kind of scenario, you either go to res really quickly and do it under here, or you just leave it, because obviously the D.Va, especially because she comes back as baby D.Va, and not like any of the tanks that come back in like, you know, big, sorry, I just punched my headset, in like a big like tank form. Because she comes back in this like baby D.Va form and your spawn is like literally right just here, I would have maybe just left it and kind of just like stayed with your DPS. And then at this moment, I'd still be kind of up with your Hanzo here. Your Hanzo's taking an aggressive angle. So like as soon as you like, obviously you did the res and you came up to come and heal him, that's great. Just stay with him at that point and stay and just come and like play around this corner and damage boost him, alright? Honestly, you don't need to help your Moira here. Your Moira's fading away and she's fine. She's getting away from people. They're gonna have to like really push her out of position to get her. And if they need to do that, you have this Hanzo still up here, right? Lovely use of cover. Your D.Va's like still quite full HP here, so instead of going in to kind of touch her with the heal beam here, I'd go in and touch her with a damage boost beam. We'll keep going. Obviously with Pharah. Love that. That was a very, very good help with the barrage. Nice res as well. That was a better res. That was a very committed of like, I'm going to res. I preferred that. That was a very, very good res. Lovely. Let's get following him, your Pharah. Lovely. So overall, I feel as though like you kind of like following your Pharah, like whenever it's like, whenever your team is fine, you do like really, really well with like following the Pharah and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say for the rest of it, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, D.Va gets C-Max, that's fine, because they're just pushing on the Kitsune rush. Hanzo is up falling as well. Yeah, I think this one is just a loss, sadly. Your Hanzo kind of like left. I would have maybe preferred you to stay a bit more with your Pharah. A little bit more during that entire thing. Just because if you can like, especially when you're like with this Pharah, you can just stand up on top of the spaceship and just kind of like vibe about and be alright. But they went through a lot of ults there, like what, they used Valkyrie, they used Kitsune Rush. They used basically both of the support ults. So you know obviously it's gonna be a big fight and stuff. Probably doing from there, people are just, you know, staggering him. Okay. This is okay. This is a no-no res. Right? You at this point you're staggering people even more, right? Because so like let's take it back a bit, right? You're coming back from spawn. Your Pharah dies by feeding in because we haven't regrouped. Okay? What should your now scenario should be just waiting for your Pharah to respawn and either like damage boosting your D.Va to get her mech back, or be damage boosting these sim turrets up, well, the sim up here, and just kind of like get some spam damage in. If you desperately wanted to go for this res, you would do it by dropping underneath the box here, rather than, because you kind of like, once again, you made a mistake with the general res as well of like doing it on top here. With this res, you can drop it down here, but you have I don't know. It's just a very, what's it called? You don't need to go in and res this, is unless if your team were like pushing up, in which case you could maybe get the res off towards the end, right? So this is just a very like res that you just basically don't need to get off, and I'd stay back and I'd damage boost like D.Va to try and get her mech back and stuff like that, because you end up staggering you, and then you're probably going to end up staggering your Pharah in a second, unless if she gets out. Yeah, look at her health. Yeah, look at her health, but you've just staggered your Pharah again. Okay. So we'll keep going. Yeah, the little sorry. It's okay. Very nice, okay? I love how you're looking out for your Pharah. Lovely. Yeah, they go with her, yes. You're doing the right, what's it called? You're doing the right thing here. You're going round with your Pharah. Playing on this high ground. Lovely use of high grounds and stuff like that. Played off to the side, very, very nice. Move out, alright. I kind of agree with that, especially because you still need to keep your Pharah up and stuff. The Mercy's going to town on your Pharah though. Very, very nice. Good Pharah barrage. Nice. I think at this kind of point now, right, I like how you're damage boosting this Pharah, but what's it called? I'd want you to kind of damage boost this Sim. Whenever we have a Sim and stuff like that, I always think towards the end of fights, whenever she's got like a bit more of a charged up beam and stuff like that, I'd highly recommend putting the blue beam on your Sim, just to kind of like annihilate a lot of people. But yeah. It was like 2 or like half 1 AM, so a bit tired. Oh, it kind of explains it a bit than Tyler, but yeah. I'd highly recommend not queuing comp at like 2 AM, I'm not gonna lie. Because I'm like dead at that point. But yeah. Alright, so damage boosting D.Va. Lovely GA to Pharah. I would have maybe done a back push GA there just to end up like with your team, rather than doing this, like, what's it called? I like how you got rid of the turret there. I do actually agree with that, get rid of the turret. I feel as though you abandoned your Pharah here. Let me just quickly like rewind it back just so I can like rewatch what you did. So we got rid of the turret, that's fine, because you don't really have anyone else to get rid of it. Perfect, that's fine. We go and peel up for your Pharah. And then you kind of end up in like this no man's land of like just kind of doing nothing for a second. And what's it called? What you want to be doing here is you want to still like try and like peek your Pharah and like still like help her out a little bit more. Like kind of either coming onto these boxes or like kind of, you know, like jiggle peeking like this just to, you know, keep your beam on. I will keep like, I'll play it in this kind of mode. And then you very much tunnel vision onto this D.Va, right? Your D.Va still has your Moira with you and stuff like that. Obviously this is fine, like healing her like this, that's okay, that's all good. But then you end up committing with her and flying in. You don't need to be flying in here to help her. You have the Moira here to help your D.Va, and she's already above that half HP barrier. Like, she's starting to get, what's it called? She's starting to get her armor back. So essentially, with the armor, if people don't know about armor, by the way, armor essentially reduces the, like, say for instance, a Bastion shoots you, and, like, shoots you like a full clip, right? If you have armor on, you basically take less damage from that clip compared to, like, if you were just having normal health, right? I can't think of like a really good example off like the top of my head. But I did do a TikTok about it all, like what all the different types of armor do and what they all mean and stuff like that. But no, so you should basically, I like how obviously you put your beam on to help when she was like quite low and stuff like that. That's great, that's awesome. And then obviously, what's it called? Your Moira's here to heal now. So you go back to your Pharah and you play this really nice off angle that your Pharah has now. You could just, what's it called? Just play off on this high ground with her again and just damage boost her. Because, and to be fair, Kiri actually hits like a really nice headshot onto her, I will not lie. Like it's a very, very nice headshot. But I feel as it would have been better if you stayed with her. Kiri's back again. instead of flinging yourself up into the air like this, I'd try and like look for somewhere, okay? Because don't go like I know obviously you're like panicking like, oh my gosh, this is Kiriko, right? But try and think, where can I GA to in order to cut LOS of the Kiriko? Because then the Kiriko will have to like come to you if she still wants to keep coming for you, right? So if you want to do this, because obviously you're like here, I'd flick up and then flick over this barrier over here. Because then you're kind of like out of the fight for a second, giving you a bit of like time to regen. It's okay if you're not present for the entire time. And then just kind of walk around and help your team, like around here, okay? But we'll keep going. Get the block out. Very nice. Lovely res.
This is our last attack.
I think you're trying to touch here, and there is no need for you to come in and touch like this soon. This is too early for you to touch. If you need a toucher, then this isn't the time to, because you have your Moira and Coalescence that can quickly like move out and stuff like that. You still have time to damage your D.Va into like her mech. You even have a sim that can TP on there, right? So, and you're like, if you were like desperate to touch, if this was like 1 second to go, I'd understand this. This is an unnecessary touch here. You don't need to be coming into contest this yeah, basically. Like you have this like bit of like obsession with the point right now you don't need. Lovely GA away though. You don't need to drop down after this either. So let's just quickly like kind of go back, alright? So you were kind of at contest this point where you don't need to. And then instead of like damage boosting the Coalescence from the Moira, I would have gone and damage boosted the D.Va. If you damage boost the D.Va, it helps her get a mech quicker, then you have your tank available. Since I feel as though having a tank presence is very, very important in Overwatch, right? Obviously, you get hooked in by the Arista roll. Very, very good GA up. I love this GA up to here. This was perfect, okay? But then you dropped down. Once again, there's no need for you to drop down to here. You can just stay up on here and damage boost your sim, like here. Like, you can see as well her beam's quite charged up and she's quite healthy at this point as well. Damage boost. Stay up here, jiggle peek this again, and just damage boost, okay? I don't really think you needed to bulk this, I'm going to be honest. Oh, go on. Nice. I didn't think you really need to bulk this. I feel as though if you position yourself, once again, a little bit better, like on these high grounds and stuff like that, you were just kind of like going in and out like this when you needed to, I think you would have been able to help your team out a little bit more and not kind of waste your bulk. Like, I feel as though if you had a little bit, like a few more respawners were coming in and stuff like that, or some of your team were like dropping a little bit more, I think, yeah, bulk it. But I believe as though this bulk was a little bit wasted. I kind of understand why you would do it though. But it's all good. You win the team fight though, so that's kind of like what's it called? The main thing, so it's alright, no worries. You want to, yeah, okay. I was about to say, you want to be with your Pharah here. Where's your Pharah? Your Pharah's being very, what's it called? Sorry, I'm intrigued about what your Pharah is. Your Pharah going to contest this Kiriko? Yes, okay. This whole scenario, you should, once again, you should be with your Pharah. Like, I believe your Pharah is doing well enough in this, like, kind of scenario, in this kind of, you know, with how she's been performing so far, I would commit with her. Like, if my Pharah wasn't, like, doing as amazingly as, like, she's doing right now, like, say she was, like, negative, for example, I wouldn't commit, and I'd, like, obviously be with the sim. Honestly, if you get this pick off on the Kiriko, she's what? She's, like, basically the person with the highest healing output on the enemy team. If you eliminate that, obviously Mercy could come and res it, of course, but then it leaves the front line without it. So I feel as though if you kind of stayed with your Pharah, like, because what happened is you kind of like let your GA, like, you know, you did the right thing of obviously not slingshotting and kind of like came over to here. Once your Pharah was going up here, like a little bit more, like up onto this high ground, do another GA up onto here, and then just like follow her and just be with her, okay? Because you kind of like hung about on the point a little bit too long, I felt like. I'd like still be committed. Obviously, gets picked off. I feel as though you know this res was a bad res, right? If you wanted to do this res, you should have done it. Hold on, where's your D.Va? Yeah, if you wanted to do this res, you should have like pinged it or like said in voice chat, I want to res. And just kind of like, you know, being like done it when the D.Va had the, what's it called? Her DM up for you. Because if your diva had the DM was like able to DM you for this entire time, this would have been better. But yeah, I feel as though once again you kind of like hesitated a little bit too long with the res. And then just like, what's it called? Kind of res when it was like, once again, in an unsafe scenario. Alright. I'll kind of like go through of like a general, what I feel like you're doing really well, what you're struggling with. Like, what's it called? Once it finishes the round and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go in. We've got Blade. This should have been just a GA back in. You have a bit of an obsession with like just doing the normal like super jumps like this upwards, for example. Half the time you don't really need to be doing it, and you could just like GA like somewhere a lot safer, right? Like in this scenario, when obviously the Genji blade was coming, I just do like a quick like GA back and then just like play back here and just like back off even into spawn if you need to, because as soon as you pass this barrier, obviously the Genji can't get you. The super jump up, it makes you very like vulnerable to him like just dashing up to you and just like getting you while you kind of like mess about and jump up here. But we'll keep going. Very nice. Love the commit with Clara. This is the commit that you should have had before, because you can see it's working. You've got a very nice off angle. Nice GA back. Lovely damage boost onto the sim. I think towards the end of this fight though, because I know you're kind of like hung about with the sim. This what's it called? This body's still here. So what's it called? I would have like come and res here a little bit more, especially because, and this called me out on a game the other day because I've hardly played what's it called? I've hardly played the new map and I forgot you can't come through the spawn here anymore. So it's actually a lot safer just to come for a res here, because all you have to do is watch out for that door over there. So like once I think once kind of the Orisa was kind of gone, you should be pushing forward to try and get the res off, as you're getting into like this overtime scenario and you want basically all your team to be alive. It's all good. Just helping round. And we're getting caught out. Just unfortunate that not many people were left alive, kind of thing. I feel as though the other thing I would have done differently in that kind of team fight is played a little bit more off the point. Just because you don't really need to be on the point there. But to be honest, I don't think that would have really changed the outcome of that. So overall, Tyler, I believe that your like beam management for the majority of the time is really, really good. Just kind of there's like a few little tiny points where you should like damage boost some more, instead of just being on that heal beam. Specifically when people are like above that 75, like 60-75% like HP part, just stick a damage boost on them, damage boost away, and. Well, what I'm saying for do better. So, do better, we need to focus on res. Res is one of your, like, what's it called? Your biggest things at the moment. Where it's either you're resing in really dangerous scenarios, or you're resing when you don't need to res, right? So, I need you to kind of, like, think to yourself and kind of go for, like, a step-by-step process of, do I need to res this person, and is it going to be a safe enough res, right? And don't be afraid to ask for resources as well. Like for example, with the one where the Torb killed you, you could just ask for like a diva, like DM basically to get that res off and stuff like that. But overall, like I feel as though your positioning genuinely is quite good. There's just like a few extra points where I feel as though you kind of like go in and you don't really need to. And I love how you're able to use the super jump. Just try not to use it so often, and try to, when you want to GA with a purpose instead of just like GAing about like, oh my god, I've got to try and avoid people. Try and like GA to somewhere where you think I'm going to be safer here, rather than just like aimlessly GAing, alright? So, keep going. With like playing here, I'd play a bit further back. Just kind of play here, because what happens quite a lot is divas and monkeys will come and jump up here, and they'll just like stand in this corridor and shoot. And if you're like really, really close, then what's it called? It makes you very susceptible to that damage straight away. So play a little bit further back with your soldier. Just play, you can literally play like right the way back here. It also means if people dive in and your soldier gets picked off, you can just quickly just whip out, and then hopefully there's usually some people like around here that you can like GA to and stuff like that. It makes it once again like a nice escape route for you. We'll keep going. Obviously, I love this blue beam. Be sure to heal up your sim. Yeah, just like top up your sim as you're going past as well. Like I know she has the shield regen, but just like, you know, it's just nice too. Also gives you that little bit extra charge too. So you can hear them in that corridor. Nice GA up. Nice. I just feel as though for this entire thing, just kind of like play once again a little bit further away from your beam target, because I feel as though you're playing very riskily and like very what's it called, up close to him, like in this scenario. Like you absolutely do not need to drop and then be here, like directly in here. You could just like put your beam on and just play back here. Play, because once again, if you play back here, it gives you that option to peel back for your team and help these guys out, as well as staying with your soldier over here. All right. But we level that G up to get the distance. Lovely damage boost. Very, very nice. Awesome. Once again, very unnecessary GA. You don't need to go and help people down there. I felt as though it was more like a bit of like a misclick, because I feel like as soon as you got down there, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't need to be here. Like, just stay up on the high ground. On this high ground, it's all good. Same thing again, where you're like, it's just like general positioning at this point, where it's just you can like crouch down here. You can even play all the way back here, because at the moment, if someone just comes and spams you, or like, you know, they have a very good sight line of you, and any splash damage coming shooting the soldier can splash onto you right now. You just want to be playing that extra little bit of cover more. I was about to say, you put yourself in a very awkward scenario to try and help this Moira. If you want to help this Moira, you either go round and heal her here. But remember, she has the regen and she has a fade and still up and everything like that. Obviously, she doesn't end up getting picked off by the Kiriko. But if you want to help her, you either do a quick GA in and out. You don't just like kind of drop down here. If you have to, then you play around these boxes and stuff like that, and then go back up. So you're a support down now, so we're gonna see what you end up doing for that. You know, I feel... hold on, I'll play out the scenario, and then... Okay, this... Yeah, you didn't need that valve. Nice res, though. Okay, we're just gonna play back for a sec, alright? I feel as though you need to be opening your camera angle a bit more up, so you're a bit more aware about what's going on around you. Because at the moment, you're playing very tunnel visioned into this soldier, right? So, instead of, like, just being like, I need to focus on the soldier, just... play a little bit further back. Play that further blue beam back. Step back a bit and observe a little bit more kind of thing. Like, make sure you're still looking at your team. Obviously, being with your soldiers, stuff like that. Just being able to take in a bit more of your surroundings and stuff like that. Because it'll basically help you out a lot with knowing where to position yourself in, like, safer spots and stuff like that. Now, I feel as though you played with the soldier. You play this right. Like, helping him, like, with this blue beam and stuff like that when he was, like, quite full of HP. Healing him up. There was no need for you to bulk here though, right? Because as soon as this soldier goes down, obviously you've got the Genji's 1 HP. I just get the pistol out and try and scare him off. As soon as you scare him off, you can go for this res. There's no need for you to bulk that just to what's it called? Just to like, you know, to get this res off basically. But we're gonna see what you end up doing. We can't... Yeah, you don't need to contest there. Ends up getting picked off again, that's all good. You can't res, yeah. I just want to say, you should kind of know at that point where it's like, what's called. You already should know that you have just used the res and stuff like that, so you don't need to. Love this damage boost though. Love the rotation for the high ground. I was just about to say, this is such a lovely rotation. There's such a lovely rotation to come up here. You should have just stayed here. Like, just stay here. It's okay. You're completely fine here. You can just jiggle peek this high ground bit and stuff like that until someone comes and dives you, right? Like the Genji, for example. You end up dropping and put yourself into this flux for no reason, right? It's so annoying because I feel as though you have, like, you have really, really good movement and you look like... You know, like, how to control Mercy's movement quite well. Like, you understand, like, the different GA types and stuff like that. but you kind of like, you get yourself into these really, really good positions like this, and then you just drop down. And it's like, there's no need. Just stay in your safety. It's like you're moving about and you don't need to move about if you get me. Sorry, I'm getting frustrated because you got yourself like such a nice position and then you just like messed it up by going in. Just fortunate. To be fair, they use a lot of ults though. They use like what, Kiriko ult, Flux, Blade. They use quite a lot in that fight, so at least you made him use quite a bit and stuff like that. Alright. See what happens at the end of this fight. There's a soldier. You're not going to get into contest that. That's fine. Self and soldier. That's fine. Lovely pick. You're doing a lot of like super jumps up, and I don't know whether this is like to look at the enemy team and look to see what they're doing and stuff like that. Honestly, you don't need to. Like you're super jumping quite a lot just to kind of like see what's going on. Just play your cover still and just kind of like trust your team, and you can kind of like tell like by your team whether they're winning or not. Because if your team is winning, they'll start pushing a little bit more aggressively and wanting to get these kills. Whereas if your team are like losing the fight, normally like, for example, your soldier will start sprinting at you, and in that case, you GA away from him, and like you also want to get away, you know. So there's no need for you to keep on GAing up and like looking to see what's happening at the team fight. All right. Nice. Obviously your Sim's going in deep, that's fine. Lovely damage with one soldier. And to get picked up. No. This is once again a very, very risky rise. Like I would have just left this here and just kind of stayed damage, just boosting your Sigma. The reason because you have this full health Genji that's just killed him and he's now going to be like basically wanting for you. So you kind of like want to basically, as soon as he dies, just GA and kind of like play around here. If your Sigma ends up pushing forward a little bit more and your team gets picked like your Sim, then you can go in and res him. But at that moment in time, it's a very, very risky res. Excuse me, if you're in like a higher rank, like people are just gonna absolutely demolish you basically. Which is basically what happens after the res. Alright. We need to make sure that when we're resing, you're staying alive after the res as much as possible. Because if you're dying for a res and it's just like a normal person like doesn't have ult or like anything that's like game changing, then it's it's a lot worse for your team basically. Like it doesn't help your team. There's one getting up. Obviously nice, getting your Moira out. I'll be looking to go up with your soldier here. Yeah, as soon as your GA is back online here and you've helped with Moira, because your Moira's like full HP, just go straight back up to your soldier, which I feel as though you're going to do in a second. At least I hope you do. Or just, yeah, use your Sim to get to him. When you see your soldier drop like this as well, you'll know, like, whenever you see someone drop from a high ground, it's because of a threat, right? Obviously, this time it's going to be the Kiriko, so you don't want to then peek this. Instead, just quickly back off and just help over here instead, right? I like this Valk though. Getting the turret. I mean, it's not too much of a necessary to get the turret there, but it's not like a really bad spot. Okay, I like how you wanted to help the visor, but if the visor is not in your LOS and it's behind the point, dude, like, it's better if you just sit here with your team and help push the damage boost, right? So, for example, if, so what happened is your soldier came over the top and came, like, around to do this visor, right, while you're still with the team. And you were doing fine, like, obviously helping the team and stuff like that. And you did this bit of a panic, like, oh, I'm not there to damage with the visor. And it's okay. If you're not there to damage with the visor, think, what else can I do? And what else can I, like, try in order to kind of help with this team fight? And sure, you could, like, kind of come around here and maybe put the beam on him a little bit later on instead of, like, panicking. Just, come down here, damage boost your team, because your team will want to push in along with the visor to try and finish people off. If you can damage boost these people, it'll actually help you out a lot more, right? And then as soon as you get LOS of the soldier, you can then damage boost him, okay? Unfortunately, he ends up dying. So, I'm gonna go for this res. Once again, it's another very risky res that you've done like in front of the team. I would have waited for my team to push up a little bit more in order to help out with the res. But it's okay. Okay, they have themselves their own Pharah now. So this means you have to kind of like stay and kind of protect your soldier a little bit more than we have been doing. Lovely backwards GA though. To help your sim. Perfect. Very, very nice. You don't need to back here though. I feel as though you're, what's it called? I feel as though you're backing to the point for, once again, for no reason here. Just stay up with your high ground with the soldier. Especially because they have this Pharah. Like, you need to be playing, like, with this soldier now. Okay. Which I'm hoping you'll do in a second. Yep. Lovely peel for him. It's just you should be with him beforehand, right? Lovely peel flow for your hog. Nice. And hopefully your soldier will push forward now. Oh, he drops. That's not your fault if he drops and dies there, by the way. Like, he should stay up on the high ground. Stay with your soldier here. Push forward with him. Oh, it's just a bit late on the vault. You can res that though, definitely. Okay. This res was very doable, right? But this res should have been, I think you were on this high ground, weren't you? This res should have been, get in, grab the orb, come behind this pillar, right? Because that would help. Basically, I think there's only the Mercy, I believe, that was behind you, that can like be able to get you. But you have this visor in order to protect you. So this basically goes: you're up here, you pop the Valk. Okay, your hog dies. What are we gonna do about it? We can res. How do we res? We're gonna get this orb, come to the safest position that we can, like this, and res it because you still have your soldier alive and he's popped visor, so it's still winnable. Okay. And then I think it would have like helped you stay up, and then you just fly back to your soldier and damage boost then at that point. But it's fine. We'll see kind of what ends up happening with this next recontest. Using the TP to get up. Perfect. He's okay. You don't have res. I feel as though a lot of your mistakes are coming from you like either doing a bad res or not knowing that your res is on cooldown. Remember that res doesn't reset now. I think it's like when you switch heroes or like when you're in like spawns and stuff like that, your res doesn't, what's it called? Your res doesn't reset. So you just have to like remember that, remember. Nice flick onto the damage boost though. Lovely. You need to be looking now though, like once this Moira is with him, you need to be looking and then helping your soldier here now. Think, he's safe, he's fine. Go into the soldier. Also, just a quick word of advice as well with kind of coming in to get him. When you're coming in to get him, I would have GA'd and then just like played this cover here. The reason is because if you stood out in this open, obviously you've got the turret that's going to be focusing you, as well as some enemies will also come and focus you because, of course, it's better to get a support picked off rather than a tank because, obviously, support is sort of like really, really important, you know, like to pick off basically. So really easy to pick off. That's what I like meant to say. So yeah, so it said you want to, what's it called? Come over here and just like play your cover a little bit more, which is what you're doing now. I know you want to flick onto the soldier and help him because the Moira can easily heal up your, what's it called? Heal up your hog here. This was a very necessary rotation. Yeah. Okay. You left your soldiers to die here because once again you're too focused on this tank. You need to be like with the soldier, GA rounds back and play around here. Your cast is also going to be back, so you can just like play around here and help these out because you were just very like hyper focused on him when he doesn't need that help. Okay. Res, you did it behind cover that time, so I actually like prefer it. Can't res, remember. Okay, at this point you seem very lost, okay? So at this point it's like you were like, oh, my hog's gone. Okay, hog got deleted because he had anti-nade on him and everything. You ain't gonna be able to save that. And now you're like looking for this res. You've already done the res. You've already done it. you're not gonna be able to res again. Okay. Now you just need to be thinking, how can I make the best of the scenario? And instead of like dancing around and being like, oh my goodness, you need to like go back and just damage boost. I could do that because it's tolerable. Literally, just back off. Like, I feel as though the whole thing is coming from like not like knowing where these people are. I think this is gonna be the end of the VOD now, isn't it? Yeah. So overall, I feel like let's start with the positives, right? Because there are some great things to talk about this. I know I've ranted a little bit about the negatives, but your positives are that your beam management is genuinely really, really good, right? As in, knowing when to damage boost and when to heal on a specific target is usually really, really good, which I applaud. That's really, really good of you, Tyler. Your movement seems quite good, but you mess it up by going into like right. It's like at the beginning of the watch point, or like the beginning of the first point, right, where you did that lovely movement up to the high ground, and then you just dropped. Like, just whenever you, instead of just moving about like for any generic reason, move with a purpose. And you did it right. You moved up with that purpose. And until you get pressured out, or until it becomes unsafe for you to be there, or you can no longer help your team effectively, that's when you need to then rotate. Okay, you did perfectly by staying up there. Just jiggle peek that little cover and play that, right? Things we need to work on is res. Your res and knowing like when to res and when to, like to not res and stuff like that, essentially, or like how to res like safely, is something that I feel as though you need to just do a quick refresher, just go back to basics with it. Think about the basics of res, it's like timings and stuff like that, and just kind of go back to that kind of like basics of how to res, when to res. Cause I know you know how to do it, right? And if you do need any help on that, I do have my res guide up on my TikTok, and it goes through basically how, like, who you should res, how you should res, all that kind of stuff. It goes really, really in depth on there, and probably explains stuff a lot better than what I could probably do now. And I think the other thing is just kind of, and I think this will help overall with everything, is just stand back a little bit more and just kind of, instead of just tunnel visioning onto people, be a bit more thoughtful and be a bit more aware. And just kind of like, what's it called? Like, look, I'm doing it like in person, but you can't actually see me. But like, just kind of play back a little bit, open up your camera view a little bit more, just so you're able to see what's going around you more. Because I feel as though you're struggling with taking in information. Once you know as much information that you're able, like, as if you can take in like as much information as you can, it will help with knowing where your team are, so you're able to get to those safer places a lot easier and a lot quicker. If you get me. But overall, Tyler, it was a strong VOD though. Still, like, do not get me wrong. Like, it's not like you're making like 20 or like really like bad decisions and stuff like that. It's just we need to fix that res thing, because I feel as though some of your reses did kind of cause this to be a little bit of a loss where you didn't need it to be. But yeah, hopefully that was all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're on YouTube or if you've been on Twitch as well. Once again, I do these VOD reviews for 5,000 channel points. I do them on my Mondays on my Twitch. And I also stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays as well. Which I'll just stream my normal like GM games and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye!